Hi there! Welcome back to Starz Recapped. In today's video, I'll be breaking down an American action-packed sci-fi film titled Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, which came out in 2018. Spoiler alert, major plot points ahead. Stay tuned and enjoy the breakdown. The story kicks off on Isla Nublar, a remote island that once housed a groundbreaking attraction featuring living dinosaurs, famously called Jurassic World. But after a disastrous event took many lives, both human and prehistoric, the location was deserted. Now, about 6 months later, a team of hired operatives is sent back to the island. Their mission? To retrieve a specific dinosaur fossil from deep underwater. They locate the massive skeleton and cut off part of a rib, sending it to the surface using a flotation device. Meanwhile, on land, a chopper crew waits for the sample to arrive. As they monitor the process, their tech operator becomes concerned after losing contact with the men below. Suddenly, the pilots notice strange movement coming from the jungle and act quickly to retrieve the officer before danger strikes. The heavy rain makes it impossible for the man to hear the warnings from his teammates. When he finally turns around, he's stunned to see a T-Rex charging toward him with a deafening roar. Panicked, he starts running and accidentally drops his tablet, which gets crushed under the giant creature's foot. From above, the crew inside the helicopter quickly lowers a rope ladder. The man leaps and grabs hold of it just in time, narrowly escaping the predator's jaws. The dinosaur bites the end of the ladder, trying to pull the chopper back down. The crew considers cutting the rope, but before they act, the ladder snaps on its own, allowing the helicopter to ascend. Just as they think they're safe, a massive mosasaurus bursts out of the water and devours the officer in one swift gulp. Back in the air, the crew sends a message to their superior confirming they've secured the DNA sample. Fast forward 3 years, Isla Nublar is under threat again. A volcano on the island has become active, and if it erupts, it could wipe out the remaining dinosaurs for good. The world is divided. Some believe these creatures should be preserved, while others argue that nature should run its course. Claire, who once managed the park, now leads a group called the Dinosaur Protection Group. Their mission is to ensure the survival of the remaining species. After the government declines to launch a rescue mission, Claire gets an unexpected phone call. Soon after, she meets Benjamin, a wealthy philanthropist who offers to finance an evacuation effort. His goal, to relocate the dinosaurs to a new, secure island where they can live without human interference. Eli, who works closely with Benjamin, goes over the rescue strategy. He explains that many of the dinosaurs still have trackers implanted in them, which will help locate them. He also highlights the importance of one specific raptor, Blue, noting that she's incredibly intelligent. To bring her back safely, they'll need her former handler, Owen. Claire wastes no time and heads out to meet Owen, who's now living a peaceful life off the grid. They sit down at a bar where Claire lays out the mission and tries to convince him to join. Owen isn't interested at first, calling the idea reckless and turning her down. But later that evening, memories of Blue come flooding back as he watches old clips of her as a hatchling. The bond they shared changes his mind. By the next morning, he unexpectedly joins Claire aboard the transport plane, where he's introduced to Zia, a field vet specializing in prehistoric wildlife, and Franklin, the tech expert from Claire's organization. Elsewhere, at Lockwood Estate, Benjamin shares a quiet moment with his granddaughter, Maisie. He fondly tells her how much she reminds him of her late mother. Maisie wonders if she also resembles her physically, but the housekeeper's uneasy reaction hints at something deeper. Benjamin gently reassures her, saying her mother would have wanted to protect the dinosaurs too. Once the plane arrives on Isla Nublar, the team is surprised to see that a full-scale operation is already underway. They're greeted by Ken, a seasoned hunter who's been put in charge of coordinating the field effort. With thick clouds of ash billowing from the island's volcano, time is running out. The team climbs into transport trucks alongside the hired crew and makes their way past the old park gates, heading deeper into the jungle. As they pass by the remains of the park, movement in a nearby shop window catches their eye. Suddenly, a soft rumble shakes the ground, and Zia steps out to watch a majestic Brachiosaurus walk by, unfazed by the humans. Soon after, they reach a communications post. Franklin uses his skills to bypass the lock, while Claire accesses the system using her credentials. Once inside, Franklin activates the tracking network to help them locate the remaining dinosaurs by tracing their implanted chips. The mercenary team had already gathered several dinosaurs, which are now being transported on a large ship. Using a tracking system, they pinpoint Blue's location. Owen, along with Zia and a few hired men, head out to find her, while Claire and Franklin stay behind to monitor from the control room. Since Blue is likely to respond better without a crowd, Owen asks the driver to stop early and continues through the forest on foot. Following some tracks, he stumbles upon a damaged vehicle, and a small dinosaur steps out. Just behind it, Blue quietly emerges. Owen speaks softly to her and offers food. Using familiar sounds and gestures, he tries to gain her trust. Blue seems to recognize him and starts to relax. But just as things are going well, the others suddenly interfere. They use darts to subdue Blue, startling her. In defense, she leaps toward one of the men and injures him. Despite Ken's warning, one of the crew uses force that severely harms Blue. She collapses. Seeing this, Owen is filled with emotion and charges toward Ken, but he is stopped with a tranquilizer. Zia rushes to his side and quickly grabs the injured man's dropped equipment, standing firm against the team. She reminds them that without her medical expertise, Blue won't make it to safety. Reluctantly, they step back and allow her to help. Suddenly, tremors shake the area. The island's volcano has started to erupt. Cracks run along the radio tower's walls. In a rush, the guards flee, leaving Claire and Franklin trapped inside when the doors automatically close. Meanwhile, Blue is loaded into a transport, and the convoy races through the jungle, avoiding the glowing flow of molten rock. Owen, still under the effects of sedation, wakes up in the woods. A Sinoceratops curiously nudges his face before running off after sensing the danger nearby. Barely able to move, Owen pushes himself forward, trying to get away from the spreading lava. Back at the tower, Claire can't reach anyone on the radio. Franklin, thinking quickly, opens a hidden hatch that leads into an old service tunnel, unaware that it connects directly to the park. As the heat increases and molten debris starts to leak into the facility, a baryonyx makes its way into the tunnel. At first, the fiery path keeps it from coming closer, but it eventually finds a way forward. In a panic, Franklin grabs a chair and fends off the creature as best as he can. Thankfully, Franklin manages to pull the creature away just in time, and the two quickly climb up the emergency ladder. The baryonyx tries to follow, but they manage to shut the hatch and trap it inside. Once outside, they are met with a terrifying sight. Molten debris continues to burst from the volcano, launching fiery rocks across the island. At that moment, Owen comes running down a hill with a herd of dinosaurs charging behind him. Claire and Franklin rush to join him, weaving through the trees to avoid being caught in the chaos. As they move deeper into the forest, they discover a gyrosphere lodged behind a fallen tree. Without hesitation, Claire and Franklin hop inside, hoping to use it for escape. However, their exit is delayed when two large dinosaurs begin clashing nearby. Before it gets worse, a T-Rex enters the scene and asserts its dominance, putting an end to the fight with ease. With the path clear, Owen continues running alongside the dinosaurs while Claire and Franklin get the gyrosphere moving, but as they reach the edge of a steep drop, both the sphere and Owen plunge into the sea below. Water begins to seep into the gyrosphere, and another fiery rock strikes it, causing even more damage. Owen reaches them underwater and tries to force the hatch open, but a small burst from the volcano knocks the tool from his hand. He quickly switches tactics, using a blade to unlock the door. With his effort, they finally manage to swim to the surface. Exhausted, but alive, the trio drags themselves onto the shore. As they recover, they see an aircraft flying overhead, carrying a dinosaur locked inside a cage. Realizing what's happening, they rush back to the operation site, only to discover that nearly every dinosaur has already been taken by the mercenaries and loaded onto a massive ship. At the medical area, Zia is doing everything she can to care for Blue, who is still injured. Meanwhile, Ken, ever the trophy seeker, uses a tool to extract a tooth from a stegosaurus, adding it to his personal collection. It's soon revealed that the mercenaries had a hidden agenda all along. Their real mission wasn't just to rescue the dinosaurs, it was to capture and transport them for profit. Claire had only been brought in to reactivate the tracking system, and Owen was needed specifically to help locate Blue. As the volcano's eruption grows worse, fiery projectiles begin hitting the base itself. With the situation escalating, Zia, the remaining mercenaries, and the captured dinosaurs start boarding the ship to depart. Realizing what's happening, Owen, Claire, and Franklin sprint toward the vessel, but can't catch up in time. Thinking fast, they jump into a nearby truck and speed toward the edge of the dock, making a dramatic leap that lands them on board just as the ramp closes behind them. From the deck, they watch the island being consumed by smoke and fire. One heartbreaking moment stands out. The silhouette of a stranded Brachiosaurus left behind at the dock, slowly disappearing into the ash-filled sky. Elsewhere at the estate, Eli meets with Gunnar, a man who specializes in high-end auctions. Eli introduces him to the laboratory, where he shows off a new prototype dinosaur called the Indoraptor, designed for specialized field operations. Unbeknownst to them, Maisie overhears their discussion from a distance. Alarmed by what she's heard, she runs to tell her grandfather. But Benjamin, thinking she misunderstood the situation, brushes off her concerns, believing it's just a child's imagination. Back on the transport vessel, the trio quietly moves through the ship and eventually finds Zia, who shares urgent news. Blue needs a transfusion, and the only suitable match on board is the T-Rex. Claire and Owen track down the massive creature, which is resting inside a large container. Moving cautiously, they approach and begin collecting what's needed. However, before they can finish, one of the crew members notices the container is open and closes it, which stirs the T-Rex. The creature begins to thrash wildly, shaking the entire enclosure. Claire climbs out through an opening in the roof and quickly unlocks the door from outside, helping Owen escape just in time. They bring the sample back to Zia, who is then able to begin treatment on Blue and safely remove the harmful object lodged in her body. Meanwhile, Maisie finds a way into the hidden lab after secretly observing Eli enter the security code. Inside, she watches a video showing Owen working with a young Blue, mirroring her movements in a training session. As she watches in fascination, Eli enters the room along with Dr. Henry Wu, who expresses concern over the state Blue might be in after what the team has done. Since her genetic makeup was essential in developing the new creature, she'll be important for managing its behavior. Maisie, trying not to be noticed, sneaks through the shadows until she accidentally steps into a restricted area. Behind the containment bars, the newly created hybrid creature reaches toward her. She lets out a scream, revealing her location. Eli catches her and quickly takes her to another room, locking the door to keep her from interfering again. Later, Benjamin calls Eli for a private conversation. Realizing what has been happening behind his back, he warns Eli that he intends to report everything to the authorities. But instead of backing down, Eli takes matters into his own hands, silencing Benjamin for good. By the time the ship reaches the California coast, Owen, Claire, and Franklin prepare to act. Owen and Claire hide inside a truck, while Franklin is mistaken for part of the work crew by a mercenary and is unknowingly assigned a task. As the vehicles roll off the ship, Claire quickly realizes that all the captured dinosaurs are being transported to Benjamin's estate. One by one, the creatures are placed into secure holding areas within the facility. During this process, Ken discovers Claire and Owen hiding inside one of the transport trucks and immediately locks them inside a holding room. Eli later approaches and justifies the operation, claiming that selling the dinosaurs is no different from the business model of the original park. In response, Claire strikes the bars in frustration, catching him off guard. Elsewhere in the mansion, Maisie manages to unlock the bedroom door using a hanger. She slips out and climbs across the balcony ledge, risking everything as she scales the side of the building to reach her grandfather's room. Once inside, she finds Benjamin lying still and unresponsive. Moments later, she hears Eli approaching and quickly hides inside the old dumbwaiter. Eli enters and pretends to be shocked by Benjamin's condition. Without much hesitation, he dismisses the housekeeper, claiming her services are no longer required. When he hears a noise near the dumbwaiter, he opens it, but by then, Maisie has already used it to escape. Meanwhile, the auction begins downstairs. Dinosaurs are displayed inside cages as wealthy buyers place bids. After each purchase, the animals are transported out of the lab and loaded onto trucks, destined for various private buyers around the world. Back in the cell, Owen notices a Stygimoloch in the neighboring enclosure beginning to stir. He whistles to get its attention and tries to provoke a response. The creature eventually charges at the wall, creating an opening between their enclosures. Once it crosses over, Owen continues encouraging it to charge again, this time at the door. The impact forces the gate open, allowing them to escape. From a hidden spot above, Maisie witnesses all of this and hides again in fear. But Owen and Claire gently call out to her. Overwhelmed, she runs into Owen's arms, and the two reassure her that she's not alone. They agree to keep her with them from now on. The group quietly moves through the building until they find an air vent, giving them a clear view of the ongoing auction. Gunnar introduces the crowd to the Indoraptor, making it clear that it's an experimental model not intended for sale, at least not yet. Handlers are shown trying to control the creature using devices, while Gunnar describes how Dr. Henry Wu engineered it for advanced field use. One of its standout features is a laser-guided system. When a target is marked, the Indoraptor becomes singularly focused on that mark. As soon as the demonstration ends, the crowd starts making massive offers. Gunnar tries to clarify again that it's not available for bidding, but Eli, thrilled by the high numbers being thrown around, encourages him to sell it anyway. Henry objects to the decision, warning against it, but Eli dismisses his concerns entirely. Owen, now determined and frustrated, searches for the control panel and manages to power up the nearby lift. Just then, the Stygimoloch appears behind him, giving him a sudden idea. He guides the dinosaur onto the platform and sends it up toward the auction floor. As the platform rises and opens, the Stygimoloch bursts into the room, immediately causing a commotion by charging at anyone in its path. The unexpected disruption sends the crowd into a panic. One of the guards prepares to react, but Owen arrives just in time to stop him. He rushes forward and begins grappling with several security members, clearing a path through the chaos. Meanwhile, the Stygimoloch continues to dart through the room, knocking people over and keeping the guests fleeing in all directions. Eli, realizing the situation is spiraling out of control, instructs his team to return the Indoraptor to the laboratory. Determined to prevent that, Owen pushes through the remaining guards and reaches the control lever, halting the platform's movement just before the creature is taken away. The Stygimoloch, not done yet, follows the fleeing crowd through the main doors, continuing its charge as the guests pour out of the mansion. Amid the confusion, Ken finally enters, puzzled by the chaos. He walks deeper into the building and comes face to face with the Indoraptor, still waiting inside its containment space. Ken tries to subdue the creature by using tranquilizing darts and waits for it to go still before stepping into the enclosure. He then attempts to extract a tooth, but the tool he's using isn't strong enough to get the job done. Suddenly, the Indoraptor regains strength, snaps at him, and takes his arm. Within moments, Ken is overpowered and doesn't survive the encounter. Gunnar, who has been watching in fear from a hidden spot, dashes toward the elevator where a few guests are already trying to take shelter. In his panic, he pushes one of the women out of the way to reach the control panel. Her scream draws the creature's attention. The Indoraptor charges toward the elevator, but the doors close just in time, smacking into its face. Not giving up, it uses its tail to strike the control buttons, forcing the doors open again. Everyone inside is quickly taken down. Meanwhile, in one of the corridors, Owen reconnects with Claire and Maisie. Before they can get far, Eli appears with two of his men, demanding they surrender Maisie. When they refuse, Owen reveals a truth Eli has kept hidden. Maisie wasn't born through normal means. Years ago, Benjamin's daughter tragically passed away in an accident, leaving no children behind. Heartbroken, Benjamin used the same cloning process responsible for bringing dinosaurs back to recreate his daughter. Maisie is her duplicate. The tense moment is suddenly cut short when the Indoraptor appears again. It quickly takes down Eli's guards, forcing the others to scatter. In the lab, Dr. Henry urges the team to secure valuable research and samples. He approaches Zia, who is restrained, and tries to persuade her to hand over Blue's genetic material. Before she can respond, Franklin surprises Henry from behind, stopping him in his tracks. After Franklin uses a tranquilizer to knock Henry out, he quickly unlocks Zia's restraints. As they make a run for it, two armed men step in to stop them. Thinking fast, Zia opens Blue's enclosure. The raptor doesn't hesitate and lunges at the guards, taking them down one by one. In the chaos, stray bullets hit the nearby hydrogen tanks, causing a dangerous leak. But Zia, Franklin, and Blue manage to escape just before a massive explosion erupts. Meanwhile, Owen, Claire, and Maisie enter a display room built to mirror the island's original setting. They're forced to duck for cover after spotting the Indoraptor feeding on a fallen security member. Unfortunately, a nearby radio suddenly crackles to life, revealing their position. A tense chase begins. The creature violently bends the staircase railing in an attempt to reach them, but Owen jams it with a metal bar, causing the beast to fall momentarily. The group uses the distraction to access a hidden passage and finds a control box. Owen shuts down the mansion's power to create cover. At the same time, Zia and Franklin discover that a leak of hydrogen cyanide is threatening the dinosaur holding areas. Without working vents, the gas will spread quickly. Realizing the problem, Owen uses a computer terminal to reboot the systems, bringing the mansion's lights back on. Just as the trio tries to move again, the Indoraptor spots them. It bursts through a glass wall, sending a display crashing down. Maisie manages to flee, but Claire is injured during the chaos. While Owen checks on her, the beast follows Maisie, who escapes via the dumbwaiter, heading back to her room. With Claire unable to move, she shares a quick moment with Owen and pleads with him to protect Maisie. The creature makes its way to the rooftop and climbs into Maisie's room through the skylight, using its claws to open the window. Just as it's about to strike, Owen rushes in and opens fire, but the bullets barely scratch its reinforced hide. It lunges toward him, but before it can attack, Blue charges in and tackles it away. As the two creatures battle fiercely, slamming each other against furniture and walls, Owen and Maisie escape onto the balcony and begin climbing down. When the Indoraptor smashes a window, it causes them to lose their footing and slide off the roof. Blue ultimately forces the beast outside again, where it continues to pursue the fleeing group across a skylight high above the lab. The heavy rain makes Maisie lose her balance, and she nearly falls. Owen grabs her just in time, but ends up dangling from the edge. As he struggles to climb back up, Claire appears and uses a laser pointer to redirect the Indoraptor's attention toward Owen. The creature charges, but the fragile glass can't hold its weight, and it nearly crashes through. It hangs on for a moment, trying to regain footing, but suddenly Blue lunges in and knocks it off completely. Both creatures fall into the fossil display room. The Indoraptor is fatally impaled on the sharp horns of a decorative skull, while Blue lands safely and flees the scene. Soon after, everyone gathers again, and Franklin points out the growing danger from the cyanide leak. With the air system damaged, there is no way to rescue the caged dinosaurs. Claire almost opens the gates, but hesitates. This isn't an isolated island anymore. Letting them out could change everything. Before she can decide, Maisie steps forward and opens the door herself, saying the creatures deserve a chance, because they're alive, just like she is. The freed dinosaurs storm out, taking down the last of the security. Eli tries to escape, but is caught and devoured by the T-Rex, who also crushes the last remaining DNA samples, putting an end to any future Indoraptor experiments. Outside, Owen approaches Blue one last time and gently reaches out to her. Though he invites her to come with him, she gives a soft growl and turns away, disappearing into the wild. Later on, Owen and Claire are shown taking care of Maisie, now part of their little family. Meanwhile, dinosaurs begin appearing across various parts of the world, on beaches, at zoos, even in cities like Las Vegas. A new era has begun, one where people must learn to live side by side with creatures from another time. That wraps up the breakdown of the movie Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. So, what did you think of the story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update from Starz Recapped. Thanks for watching.